It's X. It's What's Out Media. We got our weekly podcast up with Merrick today. Shout out to our boy Merrick. How are you doing today, man? You can follow Merrick at Arts Core.
I'm good. I'm feeling, you know what I'm saying? Just, keeping up with the phases. How y'all doing, man?
Doing well, doing well. Obviously, we got our co-host, as always, Corey. Corey, what's going on with you in Columbus, bro?
Everything's going good. Just keep on the grind.
So we used to do these podcasts. This used to be very normal during the pandemic. We'd have some guys in Florida, some guys in Ohio, so on and so forth. We would just talk about our week, whatever we want to share out to the public, or anything, any wins that you want to share, or even things that you've learned along the week. Corey, we'll start with you. How was your week, man?
My week. So I'm back in school now. We just passed syllabus week, so the work is starting to roll in. Right now, I'm just trying to make sure my time is spent with productivity as often as I can. I'm trying to, I'm either trying to learn something, make money, or stay on top of my academics and fitness. That's a big one. So I'm rowing with my team at Westerville. I'm still coaching through school. Obviously, I'm studying for my classes, making sure I'm on top of things, and trying to squeeze in as much hours as I can. It was funny. Peter, he called me. He said I'm Jamaican because of how many jobs I got. So right now I got 3 jobs, coaching, DoorDash, and I work at a bar. And I just try to squeeze in as much as I can. But on top of all that, life is peaceful. Like, I just show up to work, I do my work, and I just keep my future goals in mind, and I'm just chilling otherwise. So it's pretty tame, pretty uneventful, but I know it's for a good future. Biggest goal right now is just get this degree and get the heck out of school. So I'm pretty comfortable with the workload right now.
I always got to say shout out to my guy Malik Joseph. He's got a great thing that he says this: BIAP, busy is a privilege. If you busy, that's a privilege. So word, good to hear. Merrick, man, how was your week up there in Massachusetts?
My week been pretty good. So ultimately, I've been catching up on all the stuff that I had to do for my business, such as following up on emails, getting events confirmed, just making sure my team is good and making sure everybody's hurt. It's hard just because if you're a team, you gotta act like you're a part of a team. So pretty much, I've just been making sure everything is good. Everything is ready for the fall winter. Just because I took a month off from doing stuff, 'cause you got to give yourself mental breaks and just got to tackle things from other aspects and other perspectives too, instead of doing one thing at all the time. So things been going smooth so far. Just taking things from different angles and aspects right now.
Yeah, dude, I could totally relate with that. I just got finished with a break a few weeks ago, so coming back to it and getting back into the work of it, it takes some time. But once you get it flowing, it ends up really working out. But that's really good to hear. And you're a leader, so we'll talk a little bit about that later on in the pod. But yeah, for my week, just working on projects, following up on projects like with emails, writing out recommendation letters, right? Just chatting with people and just trying to perfect my craft and coaching. And that's what I've been up to for this week, and getting bikes in. It's been brutally hot down here, but not too bad. Like, 106, I've never been in weather this hot. It's an experience, a lifetime. So, hey, it is what it is. Say it again.
I bet it feels good too.
It does. I like more like 80s, but at 106, man, you be like, oh, I'm burning, man. I gotta learn. I gotta take care of my skin a little better out there, because you could get cooked, man. Get cooked.
Oh yeah, you definitely need to start doing that, because I know when I was down in Texas, I didn't use sunscreen at all, and
yeah, it's just
you got to.
so. Other than that, man, really not too much else working out here on What's Out. We just got done with the Silvertone interview. So Silvertone is this artist from California. He's a real cool dude of of Mexican heritage, Chicano heritage. He was like he's into rap, so he worked with like Wu Tang, but he also was like he's also into like grunge, and he learned a lot from his like mentor. It was a really good interview. Corey, what you think about that interview?
No, what I liked about that interview was you could tell he's a very down to earth guy, and he's making his music and his craft for well, one, he's putting real big thought into it, and he's making sure that it's the best for his audience. I like what he was talking about. He said, "I'm gonna make sure I don't give everyone all my content at once. I'm gonna pace it out through the year, so." Everybody's going to be hungry, but they won't be full, but they aren't going to be starving. So I like that. But he seems like he really is comfortable with what he does. I mean, he says he has a good group with him now, and they're just honing their craft, making great collaborative music. So all in all, it was a great pod, and I look to see what he's got in the future.
And yeah, shout out to Distro Lord for that podcast. And as a program note, we did have our first podcast of season 4 last week with Heshi Tisler and Merrick. You may not see Merrick within the recording because of technical difficulties. So we want to put that out there just so that you guys aren't confused. If you guys watch the podcast, Heshi would say, "Hey, Merrick, like, I don't like the Red Sox," or something like that. And then you'd be like, "Well, I didn't see Merrick. That's the reason why you didn't see Merrick." So I want the people to know, as you follow along the pod, that's what's going on. So yeah, I just want to apologize on our end if we didn't, to Merrick and to, the viewers at large, right? So, I just wanted to put that out there. What stories or like any trends or internet trends that you have seen online have caught your eye this week?
It was just this dude talking about the submarine that went to the Titanic, and he was talking about how because when we heard the news off the media, they were saying that they were doing a search for them, right? And given the information we now know about like how the sub was ended up imploding and how deep it was, there was no search. Like they all knew that the sub wasn't going to be recovered and the people weren't going to be recovered because of how deep they were, and that there's like millions of dollars being spent on this search for people who were no longer there. So that's just something I saw. I know that's like not the most positive news, but that's what I saw today.
Yeah, when I asked this too, like Merrick and Corey, it's not even like, are you keeping up with? I don't even know a celebrity, but like name a celebrity. You keeping up with what they're doing? I don't mean that. It's just like anything that may have piqued your interest throughout the week that like you maybe want to like look into more or want to just share to the people, right? Like that's kind of like the idea of it. Like,
I don't know. It's lately when I've been on the socials, I just been like posting about my business. So like I've been working on, what I've been working on a lot was consistency. That's one of the big things that I've been working on and putting my attention to since I'm not running around doing like events. Since I'm not running events all month, I've been just working on like specific shit like consistency, shit like that.
for that. Any tips that you would give to somebody working on consistency on social media?
You got to do it if you want, even when you don't want to do it. That's all those things I got to say about that. Consistency is you got to be hungry. Exactly.
And I think Corey, I think you're learning that a lot on the rowing cast. You do have 3 jobs, you got everything going on, but you're doing a really good job on rowing cast and putting out content daily. You got to, or else you're just gonna get lost in the sauce, and you won't be able to market yourself the best way. So
Hey,
yeah,
well,
Merrick,
while we're
that's real.
talking about consistency, I'm just gonna plug one of my friends, Trevor. You might have met him X, but Trevor,
Jar.
yeah, exactly. He's trying to really start to grow his community on mostly TikTok, and I actually got him up right now. He makes great stuff. And we're talking about consistency. He's struggled consistency, but now he's finally starting to get some traction, right? Because if you scroll down, we got like, you can't see it, but these are like 300 views, 300 views. But after the
Just click the video so that people can see like a real
yeah,
video.
yeah, yeah. So here's one right here. Come on. So he has a very specific style in his drawing, which you definitely need as a artist, right?
That's dope.
Yeah, he just makes doodles and stuff, and now his, he's been starting to use paint in his drawings, and it's kind of like free form, which is really dope. So it's just based off what he puts on the
Whatever the
canvas.
paint comes
Yeah,
down. Oh, that's sick.
and now he's getting that one had 3,000. Now
Yo,
he's
I
on the
need one of
3,000
those. Yo,
track.
I need to talk to him. Yeah, I need one of those.
Yeah.
That was a tough. That's tough.
So yeah, that and now he's in the 3,000 range, and then who knows? The next couple of weeks he might be in 30,000. So consistency, especially on TikTok, like consistency will give you a reward.
So, Merrick, have you ever thought about bringing the business out to TikTok?
Not really. What I've been trying to do is figure out NFT just because that's like kind of like a trend, I guess you could say NFT. So I've been trying to get mixed in with that, figure out.
So more on Web3, like the Web3 era type.
What are your next branches out of your business that you want to start to tap into? Like, let's say in the next like year.
Uh, I guess just making more legitimate connections with people because, like I was telling him that I'm gonna be working with Boston Fashion Week. That's one thing that I'm doing. So I'm trying to just find more legitimate people to work with, or just like bigger, do bigger stuff.
So right now you're just trying to build your network.
Pretty much, yeah.
And what's what's your angle on accomplishing that?
Standing on business because that's the way that you attract people. Pretty much how that went down for me working with Boston House Fashion Week is pretty funny actually because he messaged me the schedule or the whole event and I messaged mine back with my events being a smart ass and I decided to de-escalate the situation just because no need to like burn bridges with people you can work with. And so from there on, I basically said that we should go and work together and stuff like that. And from there, we basically met up, had a meeting or two, and basically he gave me the rundown on how everything works. And from there on, we just started clicking up and figuring out how we can make the two come together because he was already doing his thing, and here I am coming, just no name, no nothing, just saying let's work together. So, and that's how that happened.
And that's the Boston House Fashion Week, and that's so badass, Merrick. Like that's a really dope accomplishment. And you never know with your. It's good that you had the sense to say, "Never, I'm never gonna burn a bridge. I am still gonna hold my own, though." And that's what you've always been about, is holding your own. And you're like, hey, it turned into an opportunity like this, so that's really dope. Anything else you want to say about that? Any advice to people that might be in a situation like that one day?
Yeah, hold your own because a lot of people in this business game, they talk about what they want to do and they talk about other aspirations and they talk about how they want to get it done when all in reality you just gotta get it done and you just gotta go with the flow and it's hard to deal with it just because you gotta deal a life and here you are just doing this little side gig what most people would describe it as. And so you fall off with them when really you're supposed to just keep going. Like Big Scar said, God rest his soul. You got to keep going because you never know when you keep going. You never know what comes out of it. And I never knew how to start a business. I always just went on Google. I always just lived my dreams through Google, looking up how to run one. But in reality, all you gotta do is just set the ground running, and whatever comes from it is whatever comes from it. And you know what? What comes from it is business related, and it's related to what you're doing. So my advice is just go with the flow and if you gotta take the phases when you go with the flow, you gotta just take the phases and make what you can out the phases. So
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier with Silver's Tone, and we were talking about how like you never know when you're gonna get that reward out of your grind. So that I feel like is a very important thing with every avenue of life, especially, I mean, that's a need in business. That's a need.
Win, lose, or draw, fellas. Oh, and another thing, you gotta have a solid team. Since I'm once again doing the podcast with myself for the people that I want to do with, you gotta have a solid team, and it's always shout out to my team because having a team and having a very good team is also a good way to get yourself out there more. Just because if your team is solid, well, you make your team. And what I mean by that, if you got a bunch of solid people, all you gotta do is just get them on the same page as you. And that's all that it is. It's
Mhm.
actually easy. You just gotta have a vision, and you gotta make them believe in the vision. And so you just gotta have a solid team on your way to the top because it makes it easier, especially when everybody's on the same page.
Right. And I'll ask both of you guys this. What are you guys looking for? What values are you looking for out of your teammates?
On my end, just are you willing to put in the work, right? Are you gonna put out effort? I think loyalty that comes a little later on. I think all the big all the big metrics of like people who stay on a team long term. Because a lot of times people not on a team long term, you might have people who are there for seasons. So you have people who are there for a short period of time. So, but how do they bring that value in? So it's really work ethic. Are you going to come in? Are you going to put in the work? Are you going to do the same thing that I'm willing to do? Like, are you willing to give up, some of your comfortable, your maybe your comfortable life, right, to come work and put in some real work, right? Like, or you've got so much work going on for yourself, you got 3 different jobs, but you're able to put aside some time. You put aside 3 hours of your day to come and do interviews. That's what I look for in a team. Are you willing to put in that extra work?
Right.
With regardless of what the outcome is, because even when you do those reps turn you into a pro. So we do so many interviews, you do so many podcasts, you get to voice your opinion, you get to answer questions, get to ask them. By the time you've done it 1,000 times, I don't even know if I've done it 1,000 times yet. Once you've done it 1,000 times, you're a pro, and then you keep going. It's just like that. So on a team side, if you're willing to put in the work, is a big thing, and then there are some personality things, but trait wise, I'm real open with most people. I kind of vibe with a lot of different people. Even if we don't see eye to eye, but if I think that we have value to bring to each other, that's all good for me. But for the most part, it's just, can you put in that work? Are you willing to sacrifice? Other than that, I got no qualms. Anybody could join on the squad if they're able to do that one thing, which is the work.
I agree with a lot of what you said, X, so I won't repeat too much of you. One thing that comes to me is I like to be working with people who can stay positive in like the lowest of lows times, because I'm a person who reacts very bad to negative energy. And like I've just kind of recently found that about myself. And whenever like it's around me, I just have to react to it, and I react to it in a negative way. So I need that positive energy, and it's not just like have a smile on your face and like it's all happy go lucky and everything. It's more just like, let's say a problem comes along, we analyze the problem and we figure out how to get past it. It's not just like, oh man, we're at this problem, dude. Fuck, like it's that just slows the whole process down. So I definitely need to be around people who act rather than slow down if something comes up. And one of the reasons is because I fall for that plenty of times in my life. So it's a value that I need to hold dear to myself. So that's a big one for me.
Adulthood, man. You got at some point you gotta be nonchalant AF. Like, you gotta be like, okay, whatever happening right now, I gotta roll with the punches, but I gotta keep this shit pushing. And definitely find a solution. Don't soak in it. And then if there's solutions that there might be clear solutions, but what is the practical solution? It might be something that people may not think of, right? Your own battle. That's the advice I give to you. You got to just keep it pushing, right? It's that mentality of just, hey, it's gonna suck sometimes, but you got to push through that shit, man. And you can't let that ruin what you about to work for, right? Like, you got to
Mhm.
keep it pushing, head down, going through it. So yeah.
The funny thing is, I never really thought about having a team because I don't really like people like that. But Matt one time came to my events just because he wanted something to do. And I told him just to come on, and he was helping me set up and put together. I think he even took pictures at some point. So I guess based on that, um for me it's just like, one, is their energy good? Can you handle the punches? Um, because there's gonna be moments where you can't get discouraged because he does things himself, like photography. He makes music and all that, so he's used to like things not coming back the way they're expected. So that was never a problem with me. So um, I will say loyalty is one of the big things, just um, because when you're being successful and you're doing successful things, it's gonna come back to you, positive or negative. So it's like I fear my team. When it comes down to it, are you gonna like defend the brand, defend us? Are you gonna stand on that you say that you have? If you're willing to do the work or like play your part, just because I don't come in and be like, you gotta do exactly the shit that I do because I play a whole different role. Um, uh, I play the founder, I play the CEO, so whatever I gotta do is completely different than what you have to do. So if you play your part, then that's plus to me is
And Merrick, I was gonna ask you a question on leadership, like how you act as a leader. Like, what are the things that you do? Like, because you are a leader, man. Like, as the CEO, like, what does that what does that entail?
well, I always like to say kick your feet back because I got it. So what I like to make a big part of my personality or aspect of my person is just being reliable when it comes down to it. Um, and just me, like I said, everybody has their own part, and I just think reliability, handling my part, just makes everything 10 times easier because I don't want to say people don't have direction because everybody has their own direction. Everybody has their own way of life and how they want to go about the other things they want to do. So just being a leader is just like, all right, if you have a collective, if you have a team, everybody has their own personal life and everybody has their own things to do. But when they're with you, where are you leading them to? You know what I'm saying? And where you're leading them to is just as important as being that reliable person because you could be reliable, but at what you're gonna do and nobody has no head on their shoulders, and you're the person they're looking at for you to be the head on their shoulders because I noticed that people could claim themselves as leaders, but when it comes down to it, when things get hot and when everybody's like, "What are we doing now?" and then everybody's like, "Yo, tickets to the cell. What's coming next?" You know, they sit back and think. They're not really sitting back and like that. So you just gotta, if you're gonna call yourself the CEO or the founder, the head of something, you always gotta have like one next thing up your sleeve. So I guess just always taking the punches and rolling with them, like you said, and creating a pearl out of that just because the next thing that could come from that L or whatever you want to call it is just it'll be the next W. So you just gotta as me as a leader, I just like to like keep it pushing because when people see me keep it pushing, they gonna keep it pushing. When I when I'm down, they gonna get down, but we lifting each other up just because I'm like, yo, come on, we got it. Um so and it's just, just me just working with Matt all the time, just being a leader. You just got to, sometimes be that extra empathetic person because we all got shit that we going through. And sometimes it gets the best of us. And, you can't just be like, yo, let's come do this. And you got your mans or your person over there, stressing out, depression, and going through all that. So being a leader, you just got to be understanding of other people's times. If you're going to request their time, you just got to be ready to like, yo, we got this. We got this. Come on, come on. So you got to be that shoulder too, you can't be leader if you don't have that extra shoulder to lean on. Um, and we can even get into the materialistic things like talk about money. You can't be leader if you can't, support your peoples when it comes down to it. So I guess just me being a leader, being the head of a CEO, there's so many like black and white rules that goes to it, and sometimes they are. Sometimes you got to be that shoulder. Sometimes you got to, if you got a group of people, sometimes you got to be like, yo, we're going this way, yo, we're going that way, and that gets tiring. So you got to have the stamina too. Um, you gotta have the stamina. You gotta have the mental strength to deal with. You gotta deal with that every day. I'm taking a month off, but I'm still going to meetings, and you know that. I'm taking a month off. I'm still dealing with bullshit. It's the role that I play, and so there's so many things like being a leader.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Because if I come into coaching at practice, if I come to a practice like, hey, I'm not really feeling like doing much, I'm just gonna be lax today. Like that's gonna, whether I say it or I don't even have to say it because it's present with my like presence, like how I'm talking, how I'm walking. Everything about it just shows that maybe I'm lax, maybe I'm in a bad mood, but that affects the entire practice. So when you are a leader in any capacity, you are setting like the tone, the example.
A lot. That's what I learned about being a leader. You sacrifice it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big thing. It's a massive sacrifice. It is taxing. So like there's people who are not made for it, but they try to talk the talk and walk the walk, but they don't really understand the weight that comes with. It comes with a lot, bro. It comes with a lot. So, Merrick, everything you just said was like, I like you left me speechless in a way, right? Like that's on point, man. That's some good shit, dude. Like, yeah, that's all I got. Cause yeah, even when you take a break, it ain't even really a break for real. Cause you
Hell
still
no.
got
Mm-mm.
issues. Like you can't just put everything on pause. It ain't a video game. I wish it was, right? Like I wish you could push it on
You know,
pause and come
it
back
depends.
to it, but it's life. Everything is still gonna keep going with it, and always being empathetic, understanding that like sometimes people be like, "Oh, like we gotta fuck everything," like whatever you going. Nah, you got stuff going. You got stuff going on. Like, be honest about it, right? Like, don't try to hard ass this. Like that, the only way you could be more productive and be more efficient is if you take care of your shit, right? Like if you're not taking care of your shit, then you just gonna be like this. You're gonna be mugging around, and it's gonna take forever to get out that muck. So
You
you
know
need
what
to.
I'm Yeah, definitely. Because there's been times, like pain is real, and sometimes like you got stuff going on that you can't ignore. Sometimes you got to dig through that pain, and like sometimes you even find yourself going through that. So we really have to keep it pushing sometimes. And I learned that working with somebody who is like that I've known for like a while now, and just like we know each other to the point where we could be like snap out of it, just snap out of it, just snap out of it. And so you definitely got to be extra like worry about other people's what they got going on at the time, and like you even try not to involve yourself, but if you like play your role to a certain extent, it's just like you're automatically involved. So even when you don't want to be a leader, you still got to be a leader in some type of sense, just because they're gonna be like, yo, what would you do in this situation, because I need your help. And even then, that's when it gets really stressful, because you're like, all right, we do like this, like this, like this, like this, and it all works out at the end. So being a leader is like a bad switch you can't turn.
And that's the thing too, is like a lot of times because of the personally, I'll be when I feel like I don't want to do this. This is not my fight. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather waste my energy on something more that's prevalent to me, right? But it's
Uh,
like, as a leader, that is your call, right? Is to be there for that situation. And I was watching a podcast from one of my mentors, PDD, right? Patrick Bet David. And he was talking about when he started his insurance business, he was calling or he was helping save his buddies' marriages or like relationships. He's on the phone with them like every night. He said for like the first 5 years of his starting his company, just because he wanted his highest like his best workers to perform the best, and if they stressing at home because of their lady or whatever, he's like that was gonna affect the business, and most people would be like, why are you doing that? Like, you don't need to. But he said, I did that because I wanted them to succeed. I wanted them to reach their full potential. So I thought that when you said that earlier, it made me think of that. So I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, trust me. You go through the phases when you take that position for real. You really go through the phases, and sometimes when you get knocked down, you still gotta go with the knockdown. You can't use. Sometimes gotta keep it pushing, man.
I know, like as we're talking about when you take that role, like you're taking about, huge responsibility, and that responsibility, like if you can't be responsible for yourself, then you don't deserve that at all. And I know Merrick mentioned that a little bit, but that's something, because one thing is like when I show up to practice, like that kind of like motivates me to make sure I'm on my A game, because I can't be spouting all this. Oh, you have to, be on top of things. You got to be consistent. You got to. This is an everyday thing without me doing the same. So, like, I know that's like put me in a situation where now I'm like looking at myself and like making sure I'm up to par to what I'm telling, other people. So that's a big thing for me, is just making sure that, I represent I'm not being a hypocrite, right? That's a big thing I try to avoid.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I was in Max Scholars, that was a big thing. Is like, don't be a hypocrite. You're wearing your last name behind yourself, like you're wearing a jersey. Act like you're like representing, what a scholar is supposed to be. Like, well, you can't just be chilling. You can't be doing anything too crazy because your name's on the line. And if you're acting like a leader and you're supposed to be giving people advice, how they gonna take advice from you when you like look a mess, right? Like, am I gonna get exercise advice from EDP? Probably not, right? Like, am I
Well,
gonna
you
get?
shouldn't be taking advice anything from that dude.
I know, but you know what I'm saying. Am I gonna get right? Like, uh, thoughts on how to stay sober with Snoop? No, like you know what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying. That's not gonna be like that. Wouldn't be smart, right? So I think that's just such a interesting, thing that you got out of that today. And Merrick, once again, dude, thank you, man. You show your leadership even by being a homie and being on the podcast. We really do appreciate you, without a doubt. And I want that. I want to make that clear, right? I'll put that on here. I'll clip this. This is a TikTok. This is Instagram. I'm really thankful for you, brother.
I'm thankful for you, man.
Thank you.
But yeah, on the podcast earlier, we were also talking about you have to find your own sound, and so that's coming from a producer side. But at the same time, like I feel like that's you have to apply that to life as well. Is that you have to find your own way. Like you could definitely take advice and words from other people, but at the end of the day, it's got to be your actions, right? You can't plagiarize a whole other person's life. You got to make sure that you're doing your own thing, make sure that you're accomplishing things in your way. And one thing that I like to do is handle situations slash problems my own way, right? I think that's a very gratifying thing, is when you are faced with a problem that, maybe someone has has tried and can't get it done, and they said I tried every which way, but then you come along and then you say let me do it my way, see if this works. I feel like that's always a great thing to put forward. So um, I think that's definitely something that I want to keep with me for as long as possible, is just make sure that I'm true to myself and I'm not just trying to move the same way as either my peers or some influencer online.
Look
You
what
know,
everybody else say, bro. That's how
yeah,
you. That's how you make shit happen quick. Is it gives everybody the chance to decide if they want to fuck with you or not.
100%, man. Because if you're being fake, then every relationship, everything that you do is fake as well. Because that, like, let's just say a simple example is just a friend, right? If you make a friend, putting up a front, then that friend is not friends with you. That friend is a friend with the fake you. And that if you start slipping on your performance,
Like you miss
then
Doubtfire or some shit, right? Like
you're
you
right.
keep
Yeah.
faking like you a whole nother you can't do that, right? You cannot do that. I think that's so real, man. That's so real. I was gonna ask you guys if y'all wanted to ask me anything, and then I was gonna ask y'all one last question, but it was really like I'm real big on goals, and like having small term goals is a big thing for me. And I was wondering if y'all had a small term goal for just this week, like to be better. And is there anything that y'all think that y'all could be better at this week?
Following up on everything.
Double it up. Okay, okay.
Following up on everything.
Wait, say it again.
Following up on everything I gotta do.
Following up. I feel that. I got to do the exact same thing. I totally agree with you. Um, Corey, anything on your end?
Yeah, I'm looking for something. I've recently written down. I'll go off the dome, but I wrote down a bunch of goals. I wrote down a week goal, month goal, end of year goal, yada yada yada. But my goal right now is to I brought my rowing machine, the indoor rowing machine, up to my room, and I'm trying to get to like a semi-consistent schedule because I'm trying to prepare for winter. Because I was telling X this, but I'm trying to uh, practice with the high school guys and really get back into shape. So that's one little goal, is just to consistently get on that. Um, and just a real simple goal. And I know I mentioned this at the beginning about productivity, but I just want to make sure that I'm just like accomplishing something every day, because I have not great habit, a big habit, bad habit of just letting time pass by, just doing whatever, I, like just doing nothing. And recently, man, scrolling has been really just been so, I don't even know the word put. I don't. Well, the first word that comes to mind is depressing, because like just finding yourself in that hole where you're just going through. It's just like, dude, like what am I accomplishing right now? What am I gaining from this? And so yeah, like I said, I'm just trying to be more active, trying to be more productive. And one other goal I have in mind is I have this notebook, or rather journal. I'm trying to put in entries a couple times a week. Been putting in entries for a year and a half now. It hasn't been consistent. All these entries are like probably months apart, but just recently I've been able to get like a more consistent pace. So a lot of these goals is just giving myself tasks to do like on the daily. One thing is that rowing cast we were talking about, the Instagram. I got to make sure that I'm posting on that. Like, I can't be going like a whole week without posting that. I can't. So a lot of these goals is just me like doing tiny things every day to just make sure I'm like, still pushing forward.
Reps make it better. For me, it's being hydrated, staying hydrated. It's super hot here. I cannot be dehydrated out there coaching when it's so hot out there. Put myself at risk, and I put the kids at risk if I'm at risk out there. Another thing too is just engaging in more conversations. I don't care with who, how. How can I talk more with more people and learn more from them? So that's my goal this week. Whether it be a podcast, whether it be at work, it could be a number of things, right? It could be on my way on the bike trail. It could be getting coffee. It could be just texting a friend or checking up on somebody. That's my goal for this week, is to engage with more people. So everybody, this is What's Out. This is our weekly podcast. Shout out to Merrick. Merrick got the 2 in a row week badge. Hopefully next week we can have more people so we can engage and have different conversations. It'll be a little longer bit of a podcast. But Merrick, we really enjoy your time. Thank you for being here. If you want to tell the people your socials, please let them know. And obviously we're going to plug you again. Really appreciate your time, bro.
Yeah, thank you. And as always, I could find me at Artscore on Instagram. I'm the flies right now. I'm the hottest right now. So go all the time.
Merrick, thank you for your time. Corey, you got any last thoughts, any last things you want to say to the people for the week?
Keep pushing, fellas. Keep pushing. That's what I tell everybody that needs it. I just say keep pushing, because you never know when you're going to hit gold.
You never know. You never know. Hey, it's been What's Out. Peace out, everybody. Make sure you like, share, subscribe if you listen to this full convo. Peace.
Peace out.